Thompson. I've come to talk to you today because I've heard that some work that you've done with some collaborators has received an award.
At long last?
Yes, do you want to tell me a little bit about what the premises was and what you worked on?
Right, so at long last it was Victoria Medical Centre in Eastbourne, which actually opened in summer 22. And yeah, so it was a long project, as these things are. And I acted for the GP practice while the tenant there. So I agreed the transaction by which the GPs moved into the premises, or were going to move into the premises. So that's negotiating the lease terms, making sure we had the approval from the NHS, or the CCG as it was at the time, and the rents figures all stacked up, so we knew that we could move into the premises with all the costs covered, rent covered. And then on the physical side of it, I made sure that the room plans, the layout of the building was what the doctors wanted, and the specification of what they were having. So make sure that physically they knew what they were having and worked with them on that side of things.
Okay, and what were the main challenges that you faced during the project?
Communication is always the big one, about making sure that everyone knows what they're doing and how to ask questions correctly, because what you don't want are the doctors, for example, as the prospective tenant, going off and speaking to the building contractor and saying, well, can we have this change or that change, and it not being recorded properly, and then the developer, who's paying the building contractor, isn't aware of that communication, and then they end up in a bill for £10,000 for something that no one was expecting. So it's very much about understanding or controlling communication to make sure that if the doctors have a question, we feed that through the correct channels and get the request for that or the approval for that. And likewise, as ever the case, the building contractors have loads of questions and making sure that those questions are passed through the proper channels, answered and come back. So communication, controlling communication is always the biggest challenge. NHS approval process is always long-winded, but we finally get there. So they were as ever the case, they're the sort of two most common challenges.
Okay. And are there any more projects on the horizon similar to this?
We're in a rare situation at the moment. We've got 3 on site at the moment, all in the south. We've got one in Winchester, with Assura being the developer. We've got one just outside Bognor Regis with PHP as the developer, and then there's one in Worthing with the local council being the developer at the moment. So we've got 3 on site at the moment. We've got another couple coming through. We've got one down in Brighton, another one in Lincolnshire. So it's not all south. We travel around to where they may be.
So lots of development projects.
There are lots of development projects being talked about. It's fortunate to have those ones going through that we've got going through at the moment. The problem going forward is getting the right level of rent for these to be viable to be built, because over the last couple of years, construction costs have doubled. And then what we've had obviously in the last 2 years has been interest rates going up. So as interest rates go up, yields go up in line with that. So, which actually has a negative impact on value. So to make a deal viable, new development viable, we need much higher level of rent. And the problem we face is that the level of rent we need for this to be viable is sometimes there's a disconnect between that and what the district valuer is prepared to recommend to the NHS. So at the moment there is a big funding challenge going on. So while there is high demand for new medical centres to be built, making them viable is a big struggle. Yeah.
Okay. So it was the Healthcare Design Award for Best Primary Care Design that you won.
Well, I didn't win it.
So who did you collaborate with on that?
So I suppose it was a design award. So I can't take the accolade for that. I would have to go to the architects who did that. But it was very nice because of the architect, with the developer, with the doctors. The lead doctor there, Mark Gaffney, was very much involved in the project. And so he had a big bearing on how the building was designed. And also the CCG were incredibly helpful. So those people, including me, were at the design awards. So it's a very much appreciated function to be invited to, very rewarding to finally have the award.
Yeah, well, brilliant. Congratulations to all of you.
Thank you very much.